Hello everyone and welcome to Club Deck Corner here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. This week in Club Deck Corner, a win, waves and awards. A win in the capital, waves for those moving on, and the end of the season awards. We also look ahead to the last home game of the season versus Hearts on Wednesday night. I am Scott Carney and I'm joined by Alistair Pearson. Hello Ali.
Just the two of us tonight, Carney.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try.
Sing the rest of it if you want. No, Scotia's working and Ryan's away for work as well, so it's just the two of us. But no, a midweek game, which is quite rare at the moment. I don't think the last midweek game we had at Ibrox, and it's the last game at Ibrox as well, Carney. There's a bit of me that is looking forward to a wee break in the summer.
I think we all are now. We're getting to that stage, mate, where we want to put our sliders on, mate, and sit out the back with a beer and not have to think about when you're going to Ibrox next, the way this season's went. Yeah, as well, just in case people are wondering, Ryan has a lot on just now, literally a lot on. He's been doing a lot of stuff, so he is coming back, but he's just got more annual leave. Yeah, he's got more annual leave than anybody I've ever met in my life. But no, he will be back. But he has got a lot on, so you'll see him very, very soon. Before we get into things, to support the podcast to reach the next level, you can join the YouTube channel for as little as 99p a month. You can also buy the podcast a coffee and join the Coffee Buying Legend membership via buymeacoffee.com. All the links are in the description for this podcast. Thank you to all all our members, all our channel members, everybody that likes to support our podcast. We really do appreciate it, and obviously when we go live, the people that like to make donations as well, it really is much appreciated, and it's standing us in good stead for the future, that is for absolutely sure. That's it. I think the shameless plug stuff's over, Ali. We will start first off, mate. Obviously there is quite a bit to get through, but we'll start with the 3-1 win over Hibs at Easter Road on Sunday, just purely because it was myself that done the reaction on. It was just me that done the reaction on Sunday after the game. An easy afternoon for Rangers, really, mate. We beat a Hibs team that were surprisingly lacking any intensity. What was your overall thoughts on the game, mate? Before we get into it a wee bit more,
I thought it was very comfortable for us, Carney. I didn't really think we had to go up any gears. I was very surprised with Hibs, Carney, because going into this game, we were going on about these games coming up against Hearts as well, that these teams, Hibs have something to play for there, that they could potentially get into Europe, and they didn't look like a team that had anything to play for. I don't know, I said to Scotia and Tommy, I watched the game with afterwards, I says, what was the point of Hibs today? Because they offered absolutely nothing. But yeah, it was another routine away performance for Rangers under Beale. And again, that's 3 times at Easter Road. I know first game at the beginning of the season, but that's twice we've been at Easter Road in the last couple of months, and it's been very easy, to be honest, against usually a tough team. It's one of the teams you always think is a bit dodgy, but it was very routine.
Yeah, I think maybe the recent history of games at Easter Road has kind of blurred our judgment on what Hibs actually are. I don't really know, because it's not really came to fruition what we expect to happen at Easter Road, and it was just so comfortable for Rangers. It really was. It was just yes, it was end of season, yeah, but I thought the attitude of Rangers was good at spells throughout the game. I thought Rangers were much more on it than what Hibs were. And as you say, you would have thought we had something to play for when it was blatantly Hibs. I know we've got a wee bit of pride maybe that we're trying to play for, and we're trying to finish the season as strong as we can, which I like. I like the fact that there's been no real down in the tools, and there's some players that are continuing to try and kick on, some more than others, some might say, but I couldn't really criticise any of what I seen on Sunday. I was like, that was absolutely fine. And Rangers weren't great. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that we played our best football of the season, because we didn't, but we didn't have to against Hibs. Honestly, it was a very routine win. Before the game, Ali, it was announced the injury list, which miraculously appeared overnight. Obviously, Morelos, Wright, Kamara, Matondo, all were ruled out in the space of 24 hours before the game. But the biggest one on that, mate, was Connor Goldson. He's out for 10 weeks. Honestly, like I said it on the post-match, mate, the board, the club, we have to address what's happening here. This can't be a coincidence.
It's unbelievable this season, Carney. I mean, they guys before he got to Goldson ruled out in the space of 24 hours. What's going on? I mean, we need to hire somebody to watch these guys. I mean, come on, Kamara. If it was Kamara, I'd like fair enough. But
we need to put them in the Zob balls, the big Yeah, but as soon as you leave the training ground, stick one of them on them. That right?
Yeah, that'd be quite funny. But no, Goldson, a guy that's never been injured since he's came to Rangers this season. He's picked up injuries. He's been out. It's a big one for him being out, Carney, because you're looking at him being back at very best for the beginning of the season. And the beginning of the season is when we have obviously league game and the crucial Champions League qualifiers. You make him onto a guy who I thought was very good that can fill the boots for him until he comes back. But it's disappointing, Carney, because it's just another guy in a long, long list of injuries we've had this season. And it needs to be looked at because the injury list this season has been, I don't remember it as bad as this, Carney. I have a laugh and a joke with Rangers signing players and they get injured, but this season in particular has been horrific with injuries.
Horrific. It was like, obviously Balin mentioned that the Connor Goldson was a doubt for the weekend, and then obviously it was announced it was 10 weeks, and I just went, of course it's 10 weeks. Like, of course it's 10 weeks. Why would it not
Tillman
be?
as well. He's out for 10 weeks as well. I know
he's
he's
out 12
not
weeks.
our
He was
player
out for,
yet.
Yeah. It's just one of those things you're like, of course. Why would it not be 10 weeks? But it's going to be crucial for them to try and get him fit. It really is. The race is now on for him towards the end of the season, and hopefully he has a quick recovery.
Sorry, Carney. The only thing I would say in Goldson is when he came back from the injury that he got at the beginning of the season, he came back quicker than expected. So I'd like to think he's that type of guy. He's naturally fit, Connor Goldson. I don't know what the injury is. I don't know if you know what it is, but
it's a foot injury, I think. I think it's something to do with his foot. I could be wrong. Somebody in the comments will correct me, mate.
I just think he's that type of guy that if we need him back, he'll be back, I think.
Yeah, I think exactly the same. I think he's the kind of guy that will be going, well, if you give me a week, I'll come back and play. And the doctor's going, no, you need 10 off. And he's going, no, I don't need 10. What are you talking about? I don't need 10. It's like a fighter's mentality almost. Like you just, no, it's okay. It'll be fine. Just stick a plaster on it and I'll get on with it. But it's just, it's one of those ones you're just like, it's concerning me now that we have so many injuries because, as I say, it can't be. Even with a change of manager, even with a change of the way that we're doing training, it can't be a coincidence that these people are out for a significant amount of time as well. It's not wee knocks and niggles. Players usually play on through them, but for Bill to say he was a doubt, and then next time you speak to him, he says, "Oh, he's out for 10 weeks." You're like, so did he get hit by a bus between then and now? But no, it's just all luck with injuries this season. It really is. It is unbelievable, but I do believe there's a deep line issue. I don't think there's any doubt. Tavernier made his 400th appearance and sealed it with a goal, mate. Your thoughts on the goal? I think it was clever from Tavernier. I think he saw that Marshall was expecting the cross. Any keeper's going to be disappointed at that, but I do still think it was a fantastic penalty by Tavernier. Oh no, sorry, a free kick by Tavernier.
Yeah, I thought it was a great goal by Tav. He means it. If people turn around and say that he mean that, he does mean it.
He means it.
He means it. It's he likes scoring goals against Hibs. It's obviously his first goal was against Hibs with a free kick. So no, it's a fantastic goal by Tav. Marshall probably should do better, but at the same time he's not expecting it. But no, it was brilliant for Tav, and we deserved it at that point, Carney, because we were not the first 10 minutes we were all over Hibs, it hit the bar and everything. We were knocking on the door, and you could feel it kind of coming. And it's another goal for Tav. What's that, 101 goals or something he scored for Rangers?
101, yeah.
Something like that, which is it's a goal every 4 games or something for a right back, which is phenomenal. And he's our top goal scorer this season, Carney, again, which is brilliant, but at the same time, it's a worry.
Well, it leads to bigger issues, mate. Yeah, the fact that your right back's your top goal scorer, yes. We'll come on to that, mate. We'll come on to that. Obviously, Hagi as well, mate. Now, I think we messaged her in the game. In the first half, I was going, he wasn't involved really for me. I thought he was pretty poor by anybody's standards in that first half. Second half, he did improve, but the goal itself, I thought he took the goal really well, and you just seen how much it meant to him, mate. He said after the game that the last 16 months kind of flashed before his eyes, and it's a popular goal amongst the support, and I'm hoping, mate, that does him the world of good because he probably needs a right confidence injection. Yeah,
I mean, we were texting each other. I had Scotia beside me at the pub, and Hagi's Scotia's boy, and I'll be honest, the first half, Cowell, because I was texting you, I thought he was very, very poor. The first half, I just thought it passed him by. he's been back now, Hagi, since I think February. I know he's been in and out of games, but he just doesn't seem to have. I don't know. He needs a pre-season for me. But you could see when he scored that goal, it was a great goal as well. It could have been a penalty probably if he doesn't if the second shot doesn't go in. But great goal. And after that, you've seen a bit of confidence in him. He looked a better player after that, and I know we've only got 2 games left, and you'll feature in the 2 games. But he's got a big pre-season for me, Hagi, coming forward, because I think next season is it's never bust for Hagi next season, because I think if he doesn't turn up next season, I think Rangers will look to move him on. I know he signed a new contract, but I've said it for a few months now. I would, if somebody came in the summer and offered me money for Hagi, I would move Hagi on in the summer. I would. I know Scotia won't like that, but I didn't think he was great at the weekend. But he has been out for over a year. So
16 months is a long time not to play football. So I think I'm probably at the stage where I'm going, let's see what he's like at the start of next season, because that'll be the real test for him to see where he is at. He is still the slowest young man I've ever seen running in my life, but for an attacking player. But he's very clever. He is very clever, and he's very technically gifted as well. And I want him to be a success. That's the thing. I don't want people to think that I've got anything against Jans Hagi. I really don't. Sometimes things happen in football in terms of injuries. Phil Hollander's a perfect example of that. That the guy's a great defender. There's no doubt that he's a good defender, but he's made out of glass. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think Hagi necessarily falls into that category yet. It depends if he gets a reoccurring injury from the injury that he sustained. But you've got to give credit where it's due. And I thought he took the goal very, very well, and you could see what it meant to him. And it's funny watching Rangers fans go, he was terrible, you get him off. Then when he scores, everybody goes, I love Hagi, he's great. Isn't he brilliant?
I did say
what it means to him.
Yeah, I did say to Scotia during the game, because I was having a go at Hagi to a point, because I thought he was very, very poor. I know folk might think that's harsh because he's been out for donkeys. I've just seen what I've seen at that time. I just thought he was very poor. Yeah. And I said to Scotia, you know what will happen? I've been slaughtering Hagi this whole game. He'll end up bloody scoring, and he does.
Yeah, he does.
I'll need to do that more often, picking somebody else.
I felt exactly the same. Obviously, I just watched it in the house, mate, and when he scored the goal, I was like, yeah. I've been sitting the whole time going like, God, he looks bad, doesn't look on it, doesn't look near it, and he scores, and I'm like, no, I need to give him a bit of praise. But no, he deserved it, and yeah, I think he just shows what it meant to him. I think he loves the club. I do. I think he completely gets it here, and I think he feels like he owes the club something now as well for helping him through the last 16 months. So no, I just it's going to be good for him in the long term for him to get that goal under his belt. He scored a goal again in competitive football. That's got to be a great feeling after being out for that amount of time. So fair play to him, but I do think there's still a way to go. That's the nicest way I'll put it. Cantwell is king, mate. Just like king. Can you remember a player making this much of an impact? I was thinking about that the other day. Can you think of a player that you've thought, my goodness, where have you been, and how have we managed to get you?
In recent terms, in terms of the league, times, since we've kind of came back up the leagues,
yeah,
no. Not really,
because everybody's just in love with him. Like everybody is. I just thought he was the heartbeat of the team, mate. It's just his effort. He seems to be everywhere. He seems to be all over the pitch, defensively, attacking, left side, right side, through the middle. He just seems to be everywhere. I just think he's going to be such an important player for us. And I know I'm heaping on the praise here, but I think I was holding off for a while, because you don't want to do that Rangers fan thing where you go in too deep on someone and all of a sudden it turns out not to be as good as you initially thought. But for me, mate, we have to build a team around this guy.
Yeah, he's getting better and better. Cantwell. He was the way he glides about a park, though. It's the way he moves and stuff. He's so intelligent. We need to build a team around him. He's a quality player. There'll be teams looking at him going forward, which is good, because we know he's doing a job for us. He's scoring goals. We've been screaming out for midfielders that score goals for us. I think Cantwell next season for me is a minimum of 10 goals from where he is, which is good, because we don't have goals in the middle of the park. We've not had it for ages, and he's a guy that I think can do it. I just think he's levels above at times. And if we can bring that calibre of player similar to a Todd Cantwell in the summer, we've potentially got the makings of a good team. I don't want to get too carried away, but in Raskin and Cantwell, in his first two signings, they're very good. And you can see how good they are. They just come in and just slotted in. And it's exciting for the. I mean, you'll come on to what happened today, but it's exciting for the summer in terms of who's going to come in and kicking off next season with a brand new team. I honestly can't wait for it. It's the first time in a long time, Carney. I'm really looking forward to it because you look back to when maybe Kashinya came in and we had a big turnover of players, but this feels a bit different for me.
I agree. I feel like there's a revolution, mate, happening, but I feel like, do you know what I mean? I feel like there's definitely change in the air. It's definitely happening. Obviously, with the announcement we'll come on to, mate, that you can feel it happening. And Cantwell for me is the kind of the one holding the torch just now for it. I'm like, this is what we need. This is what we need. And to see him playing football, mate, with a quality, in-form striker in front of him, I mean, I cannot wait for that. I genuinely cannot wait. And I'm so intrigued to see the signings and the people that we're going to be linked with going forward. Before we move on from the game, mate, a special mention to Mr. John Souttar, Big Buzz Lightyear, Soapy. He was tremendous. I mean, absolutely brilliant. I think he won every battle. He was flinging himself in for blocks. I said on the post-match as well, mate, that we've said before when Connor Goldson isn't there, you notice when Connor Goldson isn't there. Seeing Sunday, mate, I didn't notice it. I thought Souttar was superb.
Yep, he was there. I text you to say he was mine, Tommy, and Scotia's man of the match. We all agreed at the end of the game. I thought he was brilliant. He looks like a guy, Carney, that's see when he first came to Rangers and he had the injury problems, obviously had personal issues as well. He just looks like a guy ready to play football now, and he just looks like a weight's been lifted off his shoulders. And I thought he was outstanding. He's a no-nonsense defender, but he can still play as well. He can still ping that diagonal ball, which we always associate with Goldson. And that's why I know Goldson's out for 10 weeks, but I wouldn't worry having Souttar there for a couple of weeks potentially, because I think he's just slotted in there nicely. And going forward, obviously Goldson will come back into where he is. Do you play John Souttar beside him as the left-sided centre-half? I'd assume we'll go into the market and bring a left-sided centre-half in, but I think he'll play an important role next season, John Souttar, regardless where he plays in the back line. But once again, I thought he was tremendous, and to me, he was man of the match by a mile on Sunday though.
Yeah, I think it's also important to have somebody that's pushing Goldson as well, so Goldson doesn't lapse into any sort of false pretenses that he's always going to have the jersey. To have somebody really nipping at his heels, I think is a really good thing. And I think he's, again, without jinxing him or putting too much on him, he's better than I thought he was going to be. I'm not going to lie. What I've seen on Sunday, I was like, well, if we can get that out of him every week, you've got a hell of a defender on your hands. Because it was one of the ones when we signed, I was a wee bit underwhelmed by it, but he's certainly proved me wrong so far. I think he's been great since he's come back into the squad. I really do, and I'm excited to see more of him. But I think it's important I'm liking the competitiveness for the areas that we are sound in, if that makes sense. So your right-sided centre back, Goldson and Souttar, they two competing with each other for the spot. I'm all for that. Literally, I'm all for that. I think that's great, and that's what we need all over the park. And there's a hell of a recruitment job about to happen, that's for sure, in order to get that. Right, we'll leave that there, mate. We'll move on to the Player of the Year awards that followed the game on Sunday. Tav gets Player, and Player of the Year, as well as the Sam English Bowl. We mentioned it earlier, mate. Yes, it's fantastic. Yes, it's incredible that James Tavernier is doing this, and he's consistent for us in terms of scoring goals. We have to stop having our right back being the top goal scorer at this club.
Yeah, I mean, Player of the Year this season, when it's been a
poor season.
Let's be honest, a disaster this season. Yeah. No trophies for Rangers.
I know we're finishing it better. I know we're finishing it better than what the rest of the season's went, but you can't forget what has previously went.
Yeah, you can. It has been a disaster this season. Yes, we got into Champions League. Champions League group stages wasn't great for us. I know we had a lot of injuries in terms of who was at the back playing for us, but slim pickings for Player of the Year. Tav probably deserves it if you look at it paper, assists, goals. I think he's been better at the tail end of the season, Tav. But yeah, we need to address this front line. For Tav to be hitting 18 goals and he's a top goal scorer for Rangers again. I mean, yeah, it's a great achievement by him personally, but people need to come in and help. That's why I'm saying a Todd Cantwell next year. For me, it's 10 plus goals alongside somebody else, if it's Malik Tillman or who else again. And then you've got your front three, if you want to say, for me, need to contribute. Ryan Kent, we've said for ages, doesn't contribute goals. Sakala, again, he's not a starter for me, but he's the only one that kind of contributes up there. And we need a number 9 desperately next season. We need a guy that's going to lead the line for Rangers next season and score goals, because we should. The amount of chances Rangers create, Garni, especially at Ibrox, we should have a striker coming in and scoring 30 goals a season for us. And we've not had one. And you're going way back now. We've not really had a striker that puts the fear into people, for me. I hate to say it, you look at the other side of the city, they do. Goals all over the top line and we don't. And it's something Beale knows he has to address, and you'll come on to who's obviously left or who is leaving in the summer. But there is, there's a lot of recruitment needed done in the summer for that top line. But Beale knows that. So yeah, it'll be interesting going forward.
Congratulations to Tav, mate. There's obviously no doubt about it. I'm not taking anything away from the guy at all. He deserves it. Let's be honest, he deserves it. If you're 18 goals for a right back, and I say the 101 goals from 400 appearances for a right back, it's incredible stats. It really is. And congratulations to him. I think him being voted Player of the Year just shows how important the rest of the team see him. A lot of people always say, and you always hear it, that he shouldn't be captain, we should strip him and give it to somebody else. I can understand why people would say that. I do, I get it, because he's not the vocal shouty captain. We've been through this before. But for me, stripping him of the captaincy doesn't achieve anything. And I've said that over and over again. And blatantly off the park and within the dressing room. And Beale said himself, he sets the standards for this club, and that is what your captain should do, in my opinion. Your captain should set the standards of your football club. He might not be shouty in the park and want to go up and throttle people or anything like that, but off the park, he leads by example, and he's the guy that people turn to. So I think it says a lot, the fact that he was Player of the Year. I really do. So congratulations to him for that. Trolak got goal of the season, mate, for the goal against PSV. A supporters vote, apparently. Not for me. It was a good goal, but again, I suppose you can't give but you can't give every award to Tav, can you?
No, it's not a goal of the season for me. It's like the one that was the SPFL gave to, was it Jota or something? He got goal of the season against us, that chip goal, which was a good goal, but there was 17 better goals than that. I think a boy for Hearts scored for his own half.
He did. Yeah, he did.
He didn't even get it. So that one for us, goal is it's not goal of the season. I know the importance of it, but goal of the season, not for me. I think there's a few goals up there. Tillman, the one at Motherwell, but for me it was Tav at Parkhead.
Yeah,
that was the one.
Same, mate. I can't. It just was that goal. It was. It's because we didn't win the game, mate. That's why.
Yeah,
but it just was that goal. And see, even Sakala's goal at Dundee United, I thought was better than that goal. I thought Sakala's goal was great, but no, that is what it is. But for me, that wasn't. But congratulations to Trolak anyway. Remember Trolak? Yeah. Tillman got Young Player of the Year award, mate. Which obviously raises the question, and Bill was asked at the presser today as he had the conversation, where are we at with Malik Tillman? It's an age-old question, mate. Do we or don't we? I think it shows what. I mean, was that 2 Young Player of the Year awards that he's won? Mm-hmm. He's won it, and he has made an impact within this team. Of course, he has, and I think there's a lot more to go with him. But it's still one of those ones where I'm 50-50 on it. It depends on what the money is. I have said previously, though, with his injury, we might get him cheaper than we initially thought.
I keep swinging on it. A couple of weeks ago, I thought, nah, he's not. The way his body language, he was talking, it was up to Bayern, it's up to Rangers. I thought he was a no. And then the last couple of days, I'm like, I don't know, there might be something in this now. So I'm 50-50 with it in case it happens. If we do sign him, I think he'd be a good asset for us. I think we will be able to sell him for money. he is only 20. If you look at his return on paper this season, Carney, for a young boy that's come into our team, first real proper season of football for him, very good. People judge him on the big games. We say big games against Celtic because he's not really showing up in those games. So Joe Aribo, when he first came into Rangers, was very similar, but didn't have the numbers that Tillman has got in terms of goals and assists. Tillman's better at this point. So it's up to Michael Beale, and it's up to Malik Tillman. What does Malik Tillman want to come and play in the Scottish League, or does he want to go somewhere else? It's up to Malik Tillman. I think Rangers would do the deal with Bayern, but it's down to Malik Tillman. Does he want to come here? To me, he could come here for 2 years and move on to somewhere else, but does he want to play in Scotland? Because he's been here a season now. He knows the hammer throwers up here, what they're all about. So does he want to play here? It's down to Malik Tillman for me, but it'll be interesting when they sit down in the next couple of days, like he says, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, mate. It's one to definitely keep an eye on, and it's one, as I say, I'm the same, mate. I kind of go back and forth on it. I'm like, does he not? And then you've got his international career coming into it as well. Is it going to affect that? It's one of those things. It is one of those things, but it'll be interesting to see what we do, and if we do ever get the details of the deal, should it be done, which I very much doubt. We'll transfer back, I'll tell you. Everybody knows that. But just before I round up the rest, just wanted to give a special mention to the John Gregg Achievement Award that was correctly awarded to the late, great Jimmy Bell, mate. A touch of class from the club, mate, but I really wouldn't expect anything less, but a real nice gesture.
Yeah, it was really good to do that. Jimmy Bell he was at Rangers since I've been a wee boy. You've always known Jimmy Bell being there. He's part. He's not just a kit man. He's part of the team. He's part of Rangers. He's in the same arena as your Walter Smiths and all that. I know he was a kit man, but he was more than a kit man. I think if you asked any of the Rangers players, staff, they would sing the praises of Jimmy Bell, a character as well. So no, that was it was fantastic by the club to recognise Jimmy Bell in that way. I thought it was very good.
Very good, very, very good. Quickly rounding up the rest, Aaron Lyle won the Academy Player of the Year and the B-Team Player of the Year. James Graham got the B-Team Goal of the Season. Lizzie Arnott, the Women's Goal of the Season. Sam Kerr, the Women's Players Player of the Season. Brogan Hay, Women's Player of the Year. And quickly on the women's team, mate, was not a great end to their season. Let's not lie. They were beat by a late goal by Glasgow City at Ibrox on Sunday, which resulted in them finishing third, mate, and out of the Champions League, the Champions League spot. That's not a good season, but maybe it's just a theme within the club just now.
It's not. And Malky Thompson, he's the women's manager, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's left the club today. So
has he? Did he?
Yeah. So yeah, he's left. So he won't be the manager next season, and that shows the disappointment of the women's team. The amount of money they've invested in that women's team, Carney. And you can say the same with Celtic and their women's team. They've invested heavily in their team as well. And for either one of them not to win that league in Glasgow, I know Glasgow City have been a dominant team in that league for years, but it's because they were the only team in that league for years, let's be honest, until Rangers and Celtic went full time. So Rangers won it last season. The amount of investment, they should be winning it this season, along with Celtic. It should be Rangers and Celtic 1 and 2, pretty much. And it's disappointing the way they ended there. And they've not got Champions League as well, which is big. So I wasn't shocked to see the manager leave his position today when I seen that. So, I don't know who they bring in the women's manager game, but I don't know. But great crowd at Ibrox, you need to say that. It's a fantastic crowd.
Definitely.
To go there and support them. So, yes, another disappointing part of the club this season, isn't it?
Yes, it is, mate. That shows you how busy I've been today, generally. I don't want to make excuses.
I'm pretty sure he's left.
I'm taking your word for it, mate, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Pretty sure he is.
Yeah, well, as I say, I was busy with work, so I didn't actually see that. But no, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, mate. One league title in 3 years. And it's been particularly poor for them. So I watched the game.
Scottish Cup at the weekend. They play Celtic in the Scottish Cup at the weekend.
That's right. I watched the game on Sunday, and it it wasn't enjoyable. It really was not an enjoyable game. It was Rangers were poor. They just were poor, wasteful, not taking the risks that you expect a team to take when you're going for glory. It was very poor, and we only really snapped into life after Glasgow City scored. There was a goal ruled out, mate. That was a goal. There's no way it wasn't a goal, but Scottish officiating, that's a whole other podcast itself. It was definitely a goal, but yeah, to finish it the way it did, it was rather poor. It was rather poor and rather disappointing, especially for the thousands that did show up. It was fantastic to see that many people there watching the women's team. But yeah, hopefully the next season is better for them. I think it has to be. Right, mate, we'll move on to the main talking point really of today. I don't think there was any really surprises in it, but there was a club statement released earlier on today confirming that the departing players. The statement read: Rangers can today announce Scott Arfield, Philip Hollander, Ryan Kent, Alan McGregor and Alfredo Morelos will leave the club upon the expiry of their contracts this summer. Stephen Davis, whose contract is also expiring, remains in discussions to continue working with the club's medical team to support his return to full fitness following a long-term ACL injury suffered in December 2022. The statement does go on, mate, but I don't want to bore everybody. After the game on Sunday, Beale had made comment regarding players moving on that there would be an announcement made on Tuesday, and it could be quite an emotional night going into Wednesday. I think there's no real shocks in who's moving on, mate, but I did, when I seen it officially come up, I almost got not a sinking feeling. I got a bit of a sad feeling because I thought, bro. But at the same time, I'm going, this is required because it is time to move on.
Yeah, you look at those players, big players for Rangers since they've been at Ibrox. They've obviously helped win the title back for Rangers. Got to a major European final last season. My sister texted me today and said she was shocked about Scott Arfield, and I texted her back and says, I'm not. We've been far too sentimental the last couple of seasons. We've been screaming as Rangers fans that we need a refresh, we need a rebuild. I think Scott Arfield, if you take Scott Arfield as an example, I think he would do a job for us next season as an impact player. But at the same time, we need to move on. We have to. And it's sad because I love Scott Arfield and the other players, Alan McGregor's and all that, but we have to move on from these players and we need to build for the summer and a new Rangers for next season. And Michael Beale, you'll probably come on to what he said about Morelos and Kent, but he knows, he's in the same camp as Rangers fans. He can see what we need, and we can't be sentimental anymore with these players. Scott Arfield gave us 5 years, great servant, but yeah, we need to move on. Disappointing that these players are all going because they've been there for that long, but us as Rangers fans have been crying out for it, and now we're getting it. So nobody can mump and moan about who's leaving. So for me, correct decisions.
Yeah, correct decisions have been made. There's no doubt McGregor, it's the correct decision. It's maybe a year too late for McGregor. Hollander, there's just no chance he can take a risk extending his contract because we still don't know where Philip Hollander is. He might be somewhere. Somebody needs to find him. So I'm not shocked at that one. The Kent and Morelos one, as it was going on, it was becoming quite clear that they weren't going to be staying around. I thought it was interesting in Bale's press conference today. He mentioned that they hadn't made a contract offer since he had come into the club. Now, to me, mate, that falls into what you said there about us having to move on and Bale seeing that we need to move on. He's very aware that we need to move on because I thought at least Ryan Kent would have got made some form of offer. Anyway, might have been a reduced wage from what he was on, or I don't know. I thought there would have maybe been something just to test the water with him, but I thought it was quite interesting that Beals went, nah. He says he's fine with the players and that, but I think it's time. It is time for Kent and Morelos, both of them, to go.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear that for Beale because if Kent or Morelos or both were to stay beyond this summer, if he'd offered them a new contract, they'd have to be in the top bracket. We'd have to pay significant money to keep them. And I think they've been at Rangers too long. You can get too comfortable when you're in one place for too long. I think the players have. especially Ryan Kent this season. I think it's been brilliant for Rangers. He's been fantastic, but this season they've got to a point in their career. I think Beale alluded in it. They need a fresh challenge. They need a spark to get their careers going again. Not going again, but they've kind of lost it this season. So, yeah, I was happy to hear that from Beale because he's obviously come in, and he's seen what we've seen for donkeys, Carney.
Mm-hmm.
He says, no, we need to move. Although Kent and Morelos, you want to say are better players, or Kent in particular, we need a refresh in the summer. And it's good that he sees what we're seeing.
Yeah, I 100% agree, mate. I agree with everything you said there. I couldn't be any more right. He's just it's almost came to a natural conclusion with both of them that it's been like, right, we can't really take this any further. Yeah, okay, we maybe should have cashed in a couple of years ago, a year ago, whatever, but that's all in hindsight, and hindsight's a wonderful thing. But it just feels like now the way that Beale's looking to take the club, the staleness that has been throughout the club that we've moaned about, now that it's happening, you're like, right, terrific servants for the club. I think history will be very kind to Alfredo Morelos. I really do. I think he was a fantastic player for us. I loved him. Honestly, when he was in his form, I absolutely adored him. I thought he was incredible. A striker that I've always wanted to see at Rangers, just battering people, running through defenders. It was a real delight to see him when he was in top flight. And Kent as well. Kent's been important for us. He maybe didn't fully live up to the price tag that we paid for him, but there's no way that he's not contributed to this team. He was part of the 55 title winning team, so he will be remembered fondly as well. But I do believe it's right to move on. Obviously, Alan McGregor, it goes without saying, mate, he is a legend, an absolute club legend. He will forever be remembered as one of, if not the best Rangers goalkeeper there ever has been. But it is right to go. And I think him and Scotty, who we'll come on to and speak about, they two, for me, that's the most emotional that I'll feel about they two moving on. Because I think Alan McGregor's just... he's just, what a man. He's a fantastic human being, he really is.
He's brilliant, McGregor. He just doesn't give a monkeys, does he? When he's in the pressers, he just doesn't care. Doesn't give the betting. Bleeds Rangers. You saw what it meant to him when we won that title. When he was up on the stage, you seen what it meant to him. He's one of us, Alan McGregor. He might look back and think, maybe I should have went out last season. Maybe this season was one too much for him. But I think he was there as a backup for McLaughlin, and just so happens McLaughlin came in. It didn't work for us, and we had to bring him back. So yeah, but 41 years of age, what a career he's had with Rangers and other clubs he's been at. But it'll be a shame because he is part of Rangers. But hopefully, I'd love to see him in Sky Sports next year or something. I know England's got Roy Keane, and he's brilliant to watch in Sky Sports because, again, he doesn't care what he says. But Al McGregor for the Scottish games would be just gold dust. I would be very shocked if Sky aren't talking to him because he would be gold dust for them.
He'd be brilliant, he really would. I don't know if he would do something like that. I'm not sure he likes it. I'm not sure he likes it or not. And I say people have obviously mentioned about coming back in a coaching capacity. Maybe one day, maybe that will happen. But I think he deserves a couple of years to himself after after retiring at 41 even. It's an incredible career, it really is. And an absolute legend at this football club. He will live on this club forever. And Scott Arfield, mate, a terrific servant for us. I love Scott Arfield, I really do. I think he's just such a great guy. And God bless America, buddy. I'll never ever forget him doing that. But he's Beale mentioned today that was one that he really struggled with, and it was kind of pulling on his heartstrings with Arfield, and I can totally get that. I totally understand that. And we might be sentimental saying, he'd be a good impact player because he's good to bring on and he gets a goal, and he clearly loves the football club as well. But I think it's probably right for Scott Arfield, and I like that they've came to the decision, and I respect the fact that Scott Arfield's probably said as well to Beale, if I'm going to stay here, I need more time. And Beale's went, I can't promise you that. And Scott's went, well, I think it's time that I move on. I respect that, and a player, I really do respect that. But he will also be remembered very fondly, mate. People love Scott Arfield.
Yeah, he's a cracking guy. He's been there 5 seasons off the park. I think he's brilliant. I think he's one of the leaders in the dressing room. I think he takes new players about, shows them what Rangers are about. I just think the guy, he gives you 100% Scott Arfield. I thought the game that summed up Scott Arfield for me was when he came on against Celtic in the semi-final recently. I just thought he'd come on and showed everything. I thought he was the best player in the park for us. That's it. I just thought he just showed determination, everything, the minimum from a Rangers player. And some players should be looking at Scott Arfield as an example moving forward. I thought he was fantastic. I think he's been a fantastic servant. He's the one guy that we've all said, we may give a contract to, but at the same time, what I said earlier on is we can't be sentimental with these players. Yeah. We need to move on. And unfortunately, Scott Arfield is one that we have to move on. And like you say, Carney, Scott Arfield probably doesn't want to be an impact player next season because he's a fit guy. Yeah. He's got a lot to give. So he wants to go and play football, and fair play to him. And I wish him all the best moving forward.
I bet you Falkirk fans are rather excited right now about the prospect of Scott Arfield returning.
If they'd maybe got promoted, but they didn't get promoted. So.
They didn't get promoted, yeah. But it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. I think he'll do a job in Scotland. America might be good. I don't know if they'd put up with him for that long if he went out there. But it'd be interesting to see where Scott Arfield ends up. And generally, I wish all of them all the best. I really do. I wish all of them all the best in the future, whatever they decide to do. They've been great for this football club. Obviously, Morelos, Kent, McGregor, and Arfield, probably more so than Hollander due to his injuries, but I wish them nothing but the best in the future. Very important for me that Rangers are deciding to continue the rehab with Steve Davis. I don't think he'll be offered any sort of contract, I wouldn't imagine, but there'll be some form of agreement to keep him supported in order for him to rebuild his fitness as much as they possibly can for the next 6 months. I think that's another real touch of class, and it's the least that Steve Davis deserves, because he's another one for me that's he's just a modern day legend of this club.
Yeah, he's in with Al McGregor. He is a legend of Rangers, fantastic servant for Rangers. All the caps he's had for Northern Ireland. Young players looking for a kind of role model. Steve Davis is your man. Look at him. Look what he's achieved. Look how he lives his life. I think it is class for Rangers. I'd expect that for Rangers, Carney. The way Rangers are run, I didn't think they would just let him go.
No,
he won't. I don't think they'll be offering him a contract, but like you say, I think they will be with him until he's back, until he decides what he wants to do, whether he wants to continue playing football somewhere else. But Rangers will support him, and I think it was. I thought it was a touch of class for Rangers, that.
Absolutely brilliant, yeah. It's the least that he deserves, it really is. Least he deserves, so no. It's very, very good of the club to do so. Right, we'll quickly do a quick preview of the Hearts game. Obviously, I'm not spending too much time on it because it is one of those games. I think it's going to be emotional at times tomorrow night, but I think it's still important that Rangers continue to try and finish this league as strong as possible, so we can have all the emotion after the 3 points is secure. That's my opinion on it. Hearts still have a chance of finishing third after beating Aberdeen at the weekend. And you would think, mate, they would have more fight in them than Hibs. Not much more to take from the presser, by the way. I'm not glossing over it. It was just continuous questions about how many players are you going to sign, how many players are you going to let go, as if Bill was actually going to tell you. I don't know why they ask questions like that. It drives me up the wall. I'm like, why are you asking that question? You've got like 2 questions to ask, and one of them is, how many players are you letting go? He's not going to turn around and go, 14, 15, I think, are leaving. Yeah, that's about right. So no. And also, if these players don't leave, what you're left with next season? A bunch of guys that you told that you could leave and move on. Anyway, mate, your thoughts ahead of Hearts, mate? I reckon they'll be more up for it than what Hibs were anyway.
Yeah, Hearts, like you say, Hearts obviously beating Aberdeen at the weekend. Have still got third position to play for, so they'll be up for it. Hearts, I'd like to think they'll be up for it. Something to play for. Yeah. And he did touch on some of the players, Carney, that are back tomorrow. He didn't. He mentioned Čolak. He's not mentioned Čolak in ages.
Did he say Čolak was back?
He said Čolak was back. He said Barisic as well. Čolak was the one that I kind of was like, oh Christ, Čolak, because he's never mentioned Čolak. Matondo, your pal, he's back as well.
So it's quite
a few of them back. So, although Hearts will be up for it, I think we'll be up for it, Carney. We have been up for it since the league is officially gone. I think the pressure's off Rangers, but I think they just go out and play their football now. Let's say some players have got something to play for next season. Do they want to be with Rangers? Do they want to be in that team next season? So we've got something to play for as well. It's our last game at Ibrox as well, in front of the fans. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, potentially as well. We could see there's rumours of a new signing getting announced tomorrow night as well.
And Kieran Dowell.
Bill didn't exactly deny it, but he said it's important that they've done things the way that they have in terms of telling the fans who's leaving, for sure, and then announcing new players. So I think there's a few in the pipeline. By the way he was talking, it sounds like there's a few quite close to being announced. So it'd be interesting to see what that is. But yeah, he did say there was a number of players back. In the squad, back in training today, but I don't know how much they'll feature, to be honest. But I think it's still important for Rangers to be on it, to get the 3 points. Plus, that wee Judas is coming back as a Hearts manager, so I want to wipe any sort of smirk off his face. Judas, I don't like Stephen Naismith at all. Right, teams, mate. You want to try and pick a team? Who do you think the team's going to be tomorrow night?
McCrory in goal. Although if we are winning, I think McGregor could come on. I know he's got his testimonial, but
yeah,
throw that in there. So McCrory
I would agree.
Yep, Tav, Souttar, King, who I thought was very good at the weekend for the boy that's not played in the first team for ages, thought was very good. Yilmaz, I think, will keep his spot. Lundstrom, Jack, Raskin, Sakala, I think will stay through the middle. Who else am I missing? Did I say Cantwell is the other one? I think Matondo might come back, and Hagi 2 games in a trot and 3. I think Hagi will feature, but I don't think he'll start. Matondo, I think, will come in, Carney. And my score tomorrow will be, I think it'll be 2-0 Rangers. I'd like it to be 3-0 Morelos to come on with 5 minutes and score a goal and we can do the celebration for one last time. Yes. But yeah, no, 2-0 Rangers, I think.
Yeah, I think it'll be the same team that started on Sunday, mate. I don't think he'll make any changes from that. I think Matondo will probably feature, but because he was injured or whatever way you want to look at it, I can't see Scott Wright. Scott Wright might get flung in because he's not really had a chance, I suppose. So it might be Scott Wright, but I would imagine it would be the same team. As I say, I don't think any of them will be that fit for contention going into the game. But I think Scott Arfield, I think I would expect Scott Arfield to get on the pitch. Yeah. I would expect Morelos to go on, and I would expect McGregor to go on if we're in a winning position, just to get the ovation. I think obviously Kent's not going to be needed, but I'd imagine there'll be I'm not going to say a lap of honour. That's probably not what I mean. Just a few goodbyes at full time. That's what I would imagine. I'll go for 2-1 Rangers, and I'll go for Cantwell to score both goals because he's on fire just now. So yeah, looking forward to it though. Say last trip to Ibrox this season, and then we can move on to Saturday, and then after that we're into the summer. So for tonight, Alistair, thank you very much, mate. I will see you tomorrow.
Yep, no problem. Good to discuss that tonight. Like you say, last game of the season. It's been a long season. I'm always looking forward to go to Ibrox. Always do, regardless of who we're playing or what we're doing. But yes, it's end of an era, Carney, if you want to say, with a lot of these players that we've seen over the past 5 seasons. And let's look forward to next season, Carney. I'm excited about the summer going forward.
Me too, mate. I cannot wait for it now. I really cannot wait for it. So before you go, please do like the video. Please do subscribe to the channel. That would be very much appreciated. We will be back tomorrow with a club reaction video one way or another after the game. Hopefully after another 3 points for Rangers. So thank you for tuning in tonight. We will speak to you tomorrow. And we are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Cheers, everybody.